Hi, I'm Tall Bob and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about my journey going to the Apple ecosystem after 30 years within the Windows environment. We're going to talk about kind of what motivated this choice, some of the pitfalls that occurred along the way, some of the advantages, and kind of some recommendations at the end of this. So stick around. It'll be fun. So I had been a Windows user since 1990. I got started with Windows 3.0 and DOS and all of that kind of stuff. And frankly, it was just because it's what I fell into. I kind of viewed Apple products as the province of desktop publishers. The and as time went on, more for the kind of hipster type. And I mean, I think you can pretty much tell I am anything but a hipster. So I viewed them with suspicion. I also didn't like the closed ecosystem. You couldn't upgrade them, and I just did not like that. I was also from the very early days, like I said, 1990, when I kind of got started in this. I really enjoyed PC gaming. And when I would look at in the software store, when you would actually go to a software store, there was very little titles for Apple. Most of them were edutainment type things, not really what I wanted to play around with. So, aside from doing work related type of things, it was also, it just didn't look fun, and frankly, using technology should be fun. So what kind of started me on this journey? Because like I said, I was a diehard Windows user forever. And really it started with this MacBook Air. I used to have a MacBook Pro, but that broke. And I bought it originally. I got it refurb because I use a cycling app. Back then I used Zwift to ride indoors, and it connected to my TV a lot more cleanly than running it from a tablet or running it from a Windows-based laptop. So that was my start. I really didn't play with it all that much. But as time went on, I started to become more and more dissatisfied with the Windows environment. It was becoming clunky, it was becoming bloated. And, I also noticed that I kind of got stuck into that upgrade trap. And what I mean by that is it seemed like every couple of weeks, a new video card was coming out. So you had to not just figure out which video card was right, which model was right, it was what brand and all that type stuff. And it got to be to the point where it was prohibitively expensive. So not only did I have the expense, I mean, I also had it was learned behavior. I'd been using Windows my whole life. I don't want to change, because I'm an old fart and stuff like that. But something just didn't feel right. I also realized that I didn't game as much as I used to. Certainly not the type of games that require like really, really super duper high end graphics and fancy graphics cards and all that stuff. And then one of the other tipping points was my Android tablet died. And so I found an iPad in on Amazon. It was a refurb in premium condition. It was like half the price of what they normally are. So I got that and I started using that as a tablet. And then the bug kind of started to set in. And finally, over this summer, it really kind of happened it started originally in June of this past summer. I went and bought a Mac Mini, an M2 Mac Mini, and I really, really enjoyed it. I started using it for more and more of my activities. I realized I wasn't gaming, that much anymore, so it didn't make any sense. And I've since upgraded to the M4 one, and it's that thing is just the absolute bomb. And what I kind of figured out was it's suddenly suited my lifestyle a lot better. So this really was more of a lifestyle choice than an operating system choice. So as you can imagine, switching ecosystems, kind of abruptly like that, did come with a pretty steep learning curve. I didn't understand how the file system worked. I didn't understand kind of the inner workings of things the way that I did with Windows. And yeah, it was a bit of a challenge, but there was a lot of resources on YouTube, a lot of tutorials and things like that, and I just took my time and learned. I had a bit of extra time on my hands, so it ended up working out really, really well. From a software perspective, I mean, I still use Microsoft Office. I had a family license type of thing, so I was able to just transfer one of the licenses over, so I'm able to do all my normal kind of work related stuff. And from a video editing and all that type of stuff, I mean, I use iMovie. I don't spend the money for Final Cut Pro or any of that kind of stuff. And also some of the apps that come with, for example, I have an Insta360 camera that I use, and that editing software is perfectly fine for my use case. And then I realized that, okay, for the games that I want to play, because I did have a sizable investment on my Steam library, I can still play a lot of those, but I can play them off a cloud service. I happen to use Boosteroid. Some people like it, some people don't. It works perfectly fine for me. So I'm not able to, or I ended up not having to sacrifice being able to play games. I don't play them as much as I used to because, again, old fart. Um, and so now I find myself in a situation where, wow, okay, I'm able to get everything I want done in a much more efficient way because everything talks to each other. If I go and I work on my MacBook, I can then easily move the files right over to the Mac Mini. The only thing, and I bring this up, and it's going to be sort of out of sync, but the only thing that I did have a learning curve on was using the iPhone, which is what this is being recorded on. I've been a Samsung fanboy, if you will, for ages. And the learning curve going from that ecosystem to the iPhone ecosystem, yeah, that took me a while. I screwed a whole bunch of things up, but ultimately it was fine. So what I basically learned was I could do all the things I used to do, and I can do them a lot more efficiently. Like, for example, I use the Notes app for kind of coming up with ideas for videos and stuff from my personal life, stuff from my professional life, and it all automatically syncs to everything else, and that is an absolute godsend. So the fact that everything is interoperable makes my life so much easier. So some of the advantages that have kind of come out of this change they've been pretty dramatic, if I'm honest. Um, the first of which is now I'm not stuck in that constant upgrade path. The products themselves get updated every couple of years or so, and I'm not the type that's just going to upgrade just because it has to actually fit a purpose. Um, so having that closed ecosystem is actually good because every time a new video card comes out, I'm not having to say, oh gosh, do I need that? Do I need to go to the next version of memory? Everything is kind of nice. Now, that may be different for you. For me, it works out just fine. The fact that everything is really interoperable is an absolute godsend. And here's another thing it's kind of a unique thing. This office that I film in, my home office, is 7 by 9, so it's a relatively small space, and it gets hot real quick. And when I had the old Windows PC in here, which was essentially a gaming rig, it was like a Ryzen machine with a 3080 in it and the whole 9 yards. This room was hot. Time of filming, it's currently like 30 degrees outside, Fahrenheit, and my office temperature would be 86, 88 degrees. Um, Nothing I could do to cool down. I would have to work in the middle of winter time with the windows open because it would just be god awful hot. Now that temperature is kind of regulated, that makes life a lot easier. So, some of the advantages, the closed ecosystem works really well for me because now I'm not stuck in the upgrade trap. The software all works together, which works really, really nice. I can pretty much game the bulk of the stuff that I used to game. I don't play stuff that has high end, like I said, fancy graphics and a lot of motion and stuff. And what do you call it? What are the frames per second? That's not my jam. I play more strategy type stuff and whatever, and Minecraft. And yeah, I'm 50 something, play Minecraft. Don't at me. It's a thing. But it does exactly what I want to do. I'm able to get my work done for my work. I'm able to actually create, edit, put videos out very swiftly and very seamlessly. Um, I'm able to do those things that I enjoy doing. So yeah, those are some of the advantages. So kind of final thoughts on this. Would I recommend that you go and make that switch? You know what? If you don't have to, don't. You know, if the machine that you have is suiting your needs, you don't really need to. But if you're finding things to be a little bit off, maybe you don't like, how Windows is bloated and things like that. Maybe you don't like the upgrade, the constant upgrade rat race thing. Then maybe it's time to do a change. You can get a lot of really inexpensive Mac products out there. You can get MacBooks. You look at like refurbished ones, and for the most part, they're pretty damn good. The Mac Mini, the base model is like $600. You can't buy a PC for that. You can't even buy a video card for that matter, at this juncture. So it really is an individual choice. If you find yourself in a situation where it's like, you know what, my stuff is getting kind of old, my workflow has changed, I don't need all of these, all of this extra stuff, switching over is a great idea. If you're satisfied with what you're doing, then no, it doesn't make any sense. For me, it's been an absolute wonder. I've really enjoyed it. I get more done. I now have more free time to do other things. So, with that said, I really thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed my little journey, as convoluted as it was. Um, do subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And also give it a like. It really does help me kind of grow the channel. I am a rather um, small creator. So with that said, we will talk to you again really, really soon. Bye bye now.